Good morning, Mike Wentz of the Joyce Agency. I'm here today to give you some information on the basic parts of water heaters. Everybody knows what water heaters are, but I'm trying to give you guys the basic information on the parts that are involved with that. But before that, let me give you a little bit of information about myself and the company I work for. Joyce Agency is a manufacturer's rep located in Chantilly, Virginia. We also have warehouses in Chantilly, and we have one in Southern Virginia in Newport News. I've been in the industry since 1968, worked for a wholesaler, worked for a couple of rape agencies, and I've been with the Joyce Agency for close to 24 years. But who's counting? I found a good home here. We represent many plumbing products, which you could see right here to the left. And if you have any information, you want more information, you can go to our website. So let's get started on the parts. Okay, let's get into the electric water heaters, the residential style. All electric water heaters have elements. The standard element in an electric water heater is usually a 4,500 watt, 240 volt element. This is the standard one that comes in an electric water heater. You normally have two. You have an upper and a lower, but this is one element that is standard with the system. We have another element. You can see this one has a long loop back and forth. This is called a low resistant element. The same wattage, same voltage, but what that does is it spreads the wattage out over a bigger area. This same heating element, same temperature, but what this does is less chance of getting any scale on it. I mean, you're going to get scale, but not as much in the beginning. And then we have an ink alloy element. The ink alloy element you could see with the turquoise top. This is really the better one out there. This is great for bad water conditions. Again, it's low resistant. As you can see, it spreads the heat, the wattage over the whole element. And also, this is used a lot in our commercial water heaters. To make those water heaters operate, we have what they call thermostats. We have an upper thermostat, which is set right here. This regulates your temperature. And then we have a lower thermostat, which again regulates your temperature. Up here we have the safety cutoff, so that if this water heater were to get too hot, and sometimes that's anything above 155 degrees, this safety button will snap and it does not protrude. So if you have a water heater that has an issue, go down and push this button in and you hear it snap, that resets it. The lower one does not have a safety switch. The reason why the safety is at the top of the water heater is because that's where your hottest water is. So this is where that safety switch is. Another thing maybe a lot of people didn't know about, but that when you install an electric water heater, your upper element is the first one to go on because that has to heat the water up here. Once it reaches a temperature, then it diverts down to the lower element, and your lower element is the workhorse for the rest of the time. So that's the story on elements. The replacing elements, if you replace one, you should replace both. If you replace the thermostat, replace both of them. That's a callback you don't want to have by doing one now and one later. Do them together at one time. Okay, now we're going to touch into the gas. Okay, as we know, there's two types of gas out there. There's natural gas and there's LP gas. So on our burner systems, all gas burner systems, this is the gas valve. This one with the red indication means that it's LP gas. If you have a gas valve with a black base on the back, that's natural gas. So you have to be careful about that because you cannot mix natural and LP. First of all, your connections are a lot different down here. LP is a left-hand thread, natural is a right-hand thread. What we have here is a flammable vapor ignition resistant water heater system. What happened back in 2002, Uncle Sam said that we had the water heater manufacturers had to come up with a system to keep flames from coming out of the gas burned combustion area in case a flammable material ever spilled. For instance, in a garage, you have paint, turpentine, anything flammable in there, gasoline. If that were to spill and you had a water heater in there on the floor, the fumes would come in here, get ignited, and they would go out and burn down. How many homes have been burnt down with that situation? So they developed a flammable vapor ignition system. What it is it's a screen that would let the vapors in but would not let the flames out. So that's what the flammable vapor is. Guys, these have to be serviced. We'll get into the service on these later on, but I just want to show you the components about this. Eventually, we're going to talk about the gas valve now, and then we're going to go in and we're going to talk about the burner assembly. Okay, we're going to talk about the gas valve, and we're also going to talk about the components behind the gas valve that makes this water heater, gas water heater operate. This is the gas valve. We have a nice big dial on here. The dial gives you off, pilot, and your different temperature ratings. It's usually low, hot, and then very hot. So these are all done with 10-degree increments. We have a light, indicator light here for operation. So it'd be great to, when you walk into a basement or you see this light flashing green, you know the water heater's operating. You see a yellow or a red, you're having issues with your water heater. Down here is the igniter. It's a piezo igniter. This is what causes a spark, which gets our pilot lit. To repair this, just show the guys offhand, is that what we do is remove the plate. If you ever have to change your gas valve, there's no longer draining the tank. All we have to do is just test this, replace the guts on this, no draining the tank anymore. So this is it, and we'll get into the testing on this later on, but this is just the components. You have the gas cartridge, and then in here, between this yellow and orange and white wire in here, we have what they call a thermocouple. The thermocouple, or thermal pile I should say, gets in here, and this reads the temperature. This reads the temperature of your water in your water heater. This regulates the temperature. So in other words, if your water heater needs to be turned on, this is what sends the signal to the gas valve to ignite and get your hot water. So this is just some of the components on this part. Okay, now we're going to talk about what's behind this gas valve. This is the part that's underneath your tank. This is what makes your water hot. This is called the burner assembly. First of all, on the outside of the door, we have what they call a reset switch. This reset switch is that if we have a flammable vapor event in our water heater, or if we have a bad burn and it gets too hot in there, this reset switch will kick off. It'll kick off the electricity to the gas valve, and the gas valve will shut down. So this is another component. This is called a safety cutoff switch. Next thing we have inside here, naturally, we could see we have our burner tray. This is where your flame is, and this is centered right underneath the tank. In here we have our igniter, which in turn ignites our pilot light, which is right here. And this pilot light in turn heats up this thermopile. The thermopile generates electricity, which in turn will send a signal down here into your water heater, which will make the thing operate. Again, we have no electrical connections. The only electricity we have generated is millivolts, and that comes out of the thermopile. So this is the components, or these are the components in the gas water heater inside the burner chamber. That's about all. These are all replaceable. They are all testable also. The next thing we're going to talk about is power vented water heaters. First of all, let me explain to you a little bit about venting gas water heaters. We have what they call an atmospheric water heater right here. As you can see, it's just a little vent hood right here. The unit ignites, the exhaust comes up, and it also pulls in fresh air, mixes it with the exhaust, and out it goes. Use that with a metal vent pipe that's strictly to be vented vertically. With a power vented water heater, which we have here, and a power direct vent water heater, we're using a fan to move the exhaust. Now, a power vented water heater is that we're using indoor air. A power direct vent water heater is that we're using outdoor air. So that's the difference between the power vent and the power direct vent. This is our new fan motor for the power vented water heater. It's small, it's compact, The condensate drain is different, which you guys have to hook up, but this is part of the system. On the power vented heaters, you have a fan motor. Also on the gas valves, which you may not see here, but the gas valve is electronic. On the atmospheric, we use the thermal pile to develop our electricity. On the power vented heater, we have 120 volts going down. This is spark ignition. That's the difference between a power vented water heater and an atmospheric water heater. Atmospheric uses just gravity for exhaust. Power vented and power direct vent blows it out. So that's the difference on that. Again, this is Mike Wentz of the Joyce Agency. Thanks for viewing my video. I hope you got some information out of it. If you want more information, you could go to our website. Also on our website, you could sign up for more trainings. We have trainings every couple of days online with the webinars. But also you could register for my own personal training. I'd be glad to come out to your shop and do training to your guys. We'll do hands-on stuff. So again, thank you very much for it, and hope you have a good day.